With so many operators in the game right now, I know it can be difficult to choose one. So today I'm going to be giving you 12 great operators for beginners. And at the end of the video, I'll be showing you some operators I would recommend steering completely clear of. Some of them will surprise you. Our first operator of the video, and arguably the easiest one to use, is Sledge. Sledge is a 3-armor, 1-speed operator that brings his sledgehammer to Team Rainbow. This sledgehammer can be used to destroy soft surfaces and hard utility. His main job, though, is vertical play. You want to use him to open holes above common anchor points in the bomb site to force defenders into the open. This can take a little while to learn, especially since there are so many maps, but you'll get the hang of it after a while. Also, if you want to commit the time into learning him, you can go into custom game and use your sledgehammer to your heart's content. You'll find some great angles doing this, and you'll learn a lot quicker than you would in public matches. Another job of yours when playing Sledge is to use your frag grenades to destroy utility. Some examples of this are deployable shields and Maestro's Evil Eyes. Just make sure your nades don't get destroyed by an ADS or captured by a Lumai magnet. On top of his easy to understand gadget, his loadout tells the same story. Sledge's primary option is the L85, which has easy to control recoil even if you're new to the game, and it has a solid damage. On top of that, it has some great magnification sights, so you can't really go wrong with this, and for a beginner, I would wholeheartedly recommend this weapon and Sledge as a whole. This choice probably won't be surprising for most of you, that being our beloved Jaeger. Jaeger is a 2-speed, 2-armor operator, and his gadget is the ADS. These devices can be placed on surfaces and will destroy all projectiles that enter their radius, minus Capito's crossbow bolts. Playing him is very simple. Just by placing his ADSs down before you go on with the rest of the round allows you to protect your teammates and their utility. But you want to try to place some of your ADSs on power positions. Examples of this are Catwalk on Clubhouse, Blue on Oregon, and Bakery on Cafe. This is by far when his ADSs are at their strongest, so you want to use them in these areas as much as you can. But other than placing them down, there really isn't much else to his gadget. They're extremely straightforward and easy to use. His gun, the 416, is no different. It has low recoil, a solid fire rate, and high damage, especially if you run the extended barrel. The extended barrel will make its recoil slightly harder to control, but I feel the trade-off is worth it. If you want a defender with a really fun and strong gadget to go along with it, then Jaeger may be the right one for you. Thatcher is an operator that may catch you off guard being on this list, but hear me out. He is a 3-armor, 1-speed operator, and his gadget is the EMP. When thrown, it will detonate after 3 seconds. When these EMPs detonate, they disable all electronics in their radius. This allows Thatcher to counter nearly every defender gadget in the game with just his EMP. There isn't much to learn about him either. You just want to use your gadget to help your hard breaches open the walls and to deal with utility that is slowing your team down. He has the same gun as Sledge, the L85, and he also has the option of the AR-33 if you want to get a slightly higher fire rate at a cost of damage. But from most players, the L85 is the right choice. So if you're looking for an operator that's easy to get into and that will provide your team with a ton of utility, Thatcher is definitely one for you. Doc is one of my favorite operators to play right now, and it just so happens he is extremely easy to learn. His gadget is the stim pistol, and just like Thatcher, he is a 3-armor, 1-speed. This gun-looking thing allows him to heal and revive himself and teammates to full HP with one shot. This can be extremely strong and can allow him to clutch rounds up if he needs to. Also, his loadout is extremely beginner friendly. He has access to the MP5, which has controllable recoil, solid fire rate, solid damage, and it is one of the few defender weapons with magnification sights. Now, there are 2 main ways to play Doc. The first way, and by far the easiest, is anchoring. All you have to do is set up in the bomb site so that you can heal your teammates, allowing you to get the most out of your gadget. But the other, less common strategy is to play aggressively with him. You can abuse your ability to heal yourself to take as many gunfights as possible, and when you get low, you just run away and heal. But if you're new to the game, I would recommend going with the anchoring route. It allows you to make an impact without needing a ton of map knowledge, and without having to take a ton of gunfights. Capan is an easy to understand trap operator that happens to be really strong in the lower ranks. So if you're a new player, you will get a load of utility out of him. His gadget is the EDD. These are traps that can be placed on doorways and window frames, and they will go off when an attacker walks through them, dealing a total of 60 damage per trap. You can also stack up multiple traps on a doorway or window to guarantee a down. When playing him, you want to set up his gadgets on high traffic areas where the attackers are going to be entering from. Doorways to the bomb site, outside entrances that are common attacker entryways, and doors to important hallways are all great examples of this. I would also recommend staying away from windows when using him. His traps are much easier to see when placed there, and they're more likely to get shot. Since Capan is a 2-speed, after setting up your traps, you can either roam or anchor down in the bomb site with his great weapon, the VSN, which has a solid fire rate and moderately low recoil. Also, the nitro cell and impact grenades that he has at his disposal adds a ton of extra lethality to him. Next up, we have Jackal. Jackal is a 2-speed, 2-armor attacking operator that fills the role of roam clearing. His gadget is the Inox goggles. These goggles allow Jackal to see the footprints of defenders and scan them. When footprints are scanned, the defenders that left them will be pinged repeatedly, and the more recent the footprints, the more pings the defender will receive. When playing Jackal, you want to be helping your team deal with roamers. You need to have your teammates drone them out, and then scan their footprints when they begin to fall back. The C7E or the PDW that he has will allow you to take gunfights against the roamers with ease, and his gadget is extremely simple, as I just explained. So if you're looking for someone to grind towards, Jackal may be a good choice. Legion is a DLC operator that provides a set it and forget it gadget and a beginner-friendly SMG. He is a 2-speed, 2-armor operator that has goo mines at his disposal. These are invisible mines that when stepped on by the attackers will produce a loud noise, preventing them from running, and will deal damage to them over time. The main use of his gadget is to provide intel to your team of where the attackers are coming from. You want to set them up on staircases, common hallways, and other entry points to get as much intel as possible. Using his amazing T5 SMG that has solid damage and a good fire rate, you can make aggressive plays off your traps if you so please. Or you can make the decision to anchor in the bomb site. Either one works for him. Zofia is a DLC operator that is very similar to Ash, but she brings a little more to the table than just fragging potential. She is a chunky 3-armor 1-speed that has the amazing M762 at her disposal. This gun is extremely easy to control if you're new, and it is one of the more meta assault rifles right now. Her extra beefiness and her strong gun will allow you to win more gunfights when you're first starting out. As for her gadget, she brings her extremely easy to understand launcher that has 2 fire modes. The first shoots impact grenades that can destroy soft surfaces and hard utility. The other shoots concussion grenades that will go off when it comes in proximity to a defender. Her ability to burn Jaeger ADSs with her stuns and to destroy utility allows her to be a powerful asset of her team. When using her, your main role is to clear utility, as I just mentioned, and to act as a fragger for your team. Just make sure before you start taking a ton of gunfights to get utility out of your gadget. Vigil might be the easiest defender to learn on this list. He is a 3-speed 1-armor operator that fills the role of roaming, and honestly, he may be the best one to fill it. His gadget, when activated, makes him invisible to cameras for its duration. Cameras do get a warning when his gadget is active, but they can't make out exactly where he is. Considering the biggest counter to roamers are drones, Vigil having a built-in anti-drone capability is extremely strong, and it isn't difficult to use considering activating his gadget is just a click of a button. His primary, the K1A, allows him to excel in his roaming role with its comparable DPS, fast ADS speeds, and low recoil. If you want further assistance on how to roam or a more in-depth guide on how to do it, I have a video on my channel telling you all about how to do it. I'll link that video in the description and in the top right of your screen right now. Lion, like Vigil, has a gadget that can be activated with a click of a button. This is a drone that flies above the map, and when it is activated, all defenders must stand still for a short period of time. If they move, they will be repeatedly pinged, revealing their location. This makes Lion most effective in roam clearing situations. When playing him, you want to have your team drone out the roamers. When one is found, you activate your E1D. This will force the roamers into either A, staying where they are, or B, rotating and getting their location live pinged to your whole team. Either way, it puts the roamer in an awful position that will more than likely result in a free kill, and his guns help with that. Lion's gun is the V308 Vector. This isn't like the Vector on defense. The V308 is an assault rifle with moderate fire rate, low recoil, and damage that makes it hit like a truck. And his 2-speed rating allows him to chase roamers easily, but still provides him with a little extra tankiness. So if you're looking for an op that has high fragging potential and that has an easy to learn gadget, Lion is a great choice. Mozzie is another operator that is extremely easy to explain. He is a 2-speed 2-armor operator that brings his pests to the table. His pests, when launched, will land onto a surface, and any drone that drives through their radius will be captured. A captured drone is then able to be controlled by Mozzie and acts as a camera for the rest of the team. You can set up your pests near your roamers to make the attackers have a harder time clearing out your roamers, or you can set them up on the bomb site to shut down late game droning. Once you've chosen where to place them, your main job is to go roam, and you're going to want a good gun to get the job done. Now, if you're new to Siege, I think out of the 2 primary options he has, you should choose the Commando. The P10 Roni has an extremely low magazine size, which makes it a very high skill weapon to take advantage of. The Commando, on the other hand, has a much higher magazine capacity and has low recoil that is easy to deal with as a newcomer. Now, the choice is completely up to you, obviously. This is just strictly my opinion, but I would recommend staying away from the P10 Roni if you don't want to have to deal with the low magazine size. Now, my final operator of the video is Lumai. He is a direct competitor to Jaeger, an operator that we spoke about previously in the video. Lumai's gadget is the magnet. These devices can be thrown onto surfaces, and when a projectile enters their radius, it will be captured. Once it is captured, the magnet will drag it away, and the projectile will then go off. When choosing your magnet placements, you want to place them in very similar locations that you would when placing Jaeger's ADSs. Putting his magnets near power positions and on doorways to the bomb site will provide the most utility. But you need to keep in mind that Lumai's don't destroy projectiles, they drag them away, as I said. You need to place them away from where your teammates are, because if you don't, you could end up getting them killed. Now, the main reason why I have Lumai on this list is due to his guns. He has access to the MP5K and the AUG A2, both of which are some of the best weapons on the defending side. The MP5K has a high fire rate, solid damage, and still low recoil. As for the AUG, it has a slower fire rate, but a much higher damage, and its recoil is just as easy to control. So the choice is, once again, up to you. When using Lumai, I would recommend playing him as a soft anchor. This means you want to play off the bomb site, but still close by. You don't want to be roaming with him, because you want to be able to deploy his magnets in and around the bomb site. If you're roaming, you'll have to run back and forth to the bomb site every time you get a new magnet. Since he doesn't have all of his magnets at the start of the round, he earns them throughout it. So if you're looking for an operator that has a little bit of a learning curve, but still is relatively easy to learn, then I would recommend Lumai. Now I'll talk about some operators that I would recommend you avoiding, at least when you're first starting out. The first type of operators being hard breachers. Hard breachers are a super important aspect of Siege, and they are some of the strongest operators in the game, but one misplay while playing them can single-handedly lose the round for your team. So I would take some time to learn Siege on some other operators before playing these ops. If you don't know what I mean by hard breachers include operators like Thermite, Ace, Habana, and Maverick. Any operator that breaches reinforced walls is very difficult to learn at the start. Another set of operators that I would recommend staying away from are what I would consider to be site setup operators. These include Mira, Castle, and Azami. All three of these operators require an immense amount of map knowledge to get the most out of them, and if you play them wrong, they can cost your team the round. If you place your castle barricades in bad spots, it could prevent your team's rotation. If you place your Miras in a bad spot, they could provide free murder holes for the attackers to kill your team. And if you place Azami's Kibas incorrectly, it could cut off your team's angles. Now, the final set of operators I think you should stay away from are plant denial operators. If you're trying to learn the game on an easy operator, these are not the ones to choose. Smoke and Tachanka need to stay alive to get the most out of their gadget, and their guns are extremely hard to control if you're new. Whereas Goyo requires a lot of map knowledge to understand where to place his canisters, because if you place them incorrectly, they can hurt your team more than help. If you stay away from these operators that I mentioned, you'll most likely be fine. But if you want some simpler operators to main, picking any of the ones that I mentioned in this video would be a great idea. Hopefully you found today's video useful. I make Siege content just like this twice a week, so if you're interested, I would appreciate it if you would consider subbing and following me on Twitter. If you want to watch another video just like this one, a video will be popping up on your screen right now. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.